Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I am Ariane Zurcher, and this is the final episode of the second mixed media vessel. It's the big reveal. It's not finished yet, but you can see I'm getting that undulating. Remember how I wanted it to kind of undulate? So I'm getting that. It's leaning a little, leaning Tower of Pisa, but that can be quickly adjusted. I still have to put the lining in, and that'll stabilize it as well, I hope. So I'm going to finish doing the lining, and while I do the lining, I'll talk about a couple of little tweaks that I made for this vessel that I didn't do with the first one. I don't know if you remember, but I was agonizing on that first one because I had no idea how to put the thing together and how it was going to work. And there was just a lot of learning. But this one went so much easier because I had really learned from my mistakes. And so that's the good news, that I remembered the mistakes I made, had video to reference when I was like, I can't remember, and then did things differently. And so there were still some bumps along the way, but this went a lot more smoothly. I'm excited to have this finished and to show all of you. So I'll turn you around and we'll get started. All right, I'm coming into frame here. So I have the wires in, except for this one, which I may or may not add. It depends on how it sits once I've put it on its little base and the top. It may not actually need it. So yeah, but there it is. And I do have a little bit of work to do in here, which is tricky because it's the seam, and I need to pull out that this thing to get in there and stitch and stuff, but it's not a big deal. So that is that's the next part, doing this, sewing up this seam, getting everything so that it looks okay in here, and then deciding whether I want to put one more wire, and then if I do, putting that wire in, and then adding the base, adding the top. So I'm going ahead and doing this. I have not stitched down the bottom. My first vessel, I did things a little bit differently. I stitched down the bottom and then put the lining in, stitched the sides up, and then, as I remember correctly, I had to add some stuff to hide, to try to hide that seam. And so I had to stitch through the lining and everything. This time I've pulled the lining up, because it's not attached anywhere. It's just pinned. And I'm stitching this, and I'm going to do all of whatever I need to do in here. And then I'm going to put the lining back down, stitch the bottom, and then stitch the top. So we'll see if this, if one is easier than the other. I can't really remember. The other vessel, I don't know. I don't remember it being a problem doing it that way, but I realized when I was looking at the video that I had done things a bit differently. Anyway, I don't, there's no right or wrong way to do this at this point. It's just kind of whatever works. My idea is I'm using a shepherd's silk, which is quite thick from the thread gatherer, and because that's what I did on this dart down here, and I thought that looked kind of cool. And then I'm going to do another, I think, the way I've done 2 running stitches so much of the time on this piece. So I think I'll do that again, my little railroad tracks. And then I think, well, I don't know what I'll do up here. This is looking like it needs to be, I may have to go in here and redo this because this is definitely needs to be folded over. So I think I have to take this out, take out some of the stitches. I have this fusible on here to sort of hold things together, but I think actually before I keep going, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this stuff out and pull this down so that it's because I'm getting a buckling here. And these are the things that you come across. No problem. This is nothing. I've been training for this my whole life. This is nothing as far as problems go. Not even a problem. Okay, look at this. I'm so excited. So I haven't put the top on. I have to still do that. And then that's it. I'm done. But look at him. He's standing. And it's really cool. And once I get that top on, it's going to stabilize it even more. And yeah, I'm very excited. So that's the update. Quick update. I really have to zoom out to show the full thing because it's a big vessel. It's about 24 inches in height, and but I wanted to just show you. Remember that plastic bag? And I wanted it to look kind of like a waterfall. It does. It does look like a waterfall. I love that. All right. So, do you see how it's going like this? That's what I wanted. So I'm going to, I have to put this whole thing on the ground, and then I have to bend down and stitch the lining in. All right. So this is how I'm having to do this. A couple things that I did differently than the first one was I did the bottom differently. In the first one, I actually don't remember how I did it, but I know that I did the wire, which I totally remembered. And then, and I kind of did the same where I couched the wire down with a thicker thread. And then, I may need to use a hooked needle for this. And then what I did was I turned I didn't do the sides. I kept the whole thing open and kind of went around the wire, which was an easier way to do it if you're going to turn if you're going to do turn the selvages under. But what I did with this one was I actually put the wire in because I'd already sewn the sides together. So I put the wire in, I put the bottom in, and then I put this over it. And I tried to do the same thing. And of course, when you have this wire structure, it's not going to work. So what I did was I put I'll show you. Do you see how I just put the edge over and then stitched around it so that the edge the selvage is here instead of being tucked under. And that actually worked out really nicely. And I also love the way it looks. So, because I left a lot of frayed parts and all of that, and yeah, so that was a bit different. And then the other thing I did differently was I didn't sew into the lining at all, which I did do on the other one, which honestly, it doesn't make a difference. It's not like I'm using this. So those were a couple of things different. And then the other thing was just how much fun this was. I just had learned so much from the first time. I didn't have quite as many problems. I had some, I certainly had challenges to deal with along the way. I didn't have the kind of frustration that I remember feeling with the first one. And because thanks to all your comments, I did manage to get the shape that I was hoping for the first one this time. So that's kind of cool as well. All right, I'm going to keep going around with this, and like I said, I'll come back when it's done. Got my waterfall. I've got my little wires doing that thing. My candy wrapper. But all in all, I think it was a success, and as always, I learned a bit more each time. The third time I'm going to make another, and we'll see. But I'm thinking the next one might be small, a little one. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe do a couple of little, and then I have some ideas for some other things that I want to start doing, like I love this kind of soft sculpture, so I'm thinking instead of working flat like this piece, right, this big right here that's on my wall, that instead of working in that format, that I start working where it's something that hangs but that it has shape to it. So that's kind of where I'm going. This is the evolution of my journey, and yeah, it's exciting.